Hello, Hess Toy Truck fans. Mike here, and this is my my library. What you might find interesting now, this right here is the very first encyclopedia. It was called the Master List of every known model and variation of Hess truck. This was actually done first in, I think, May of 2011, and this is the complete and expanded version, August 2011. This is after I started talking with James Galdo from the Facebook page, the Hess Facebook page. And so this right here, it's very, very, very basic. Just to kind of give you a quick run through. A lot of information, a lot of text, some pictures, and a lot of outdated stuff. Some things that ended up coming back. And this was the very, very first encyclopedia. This is what I sent to people for free, practically begging people, hey, listen, you want to take a look at this? What do you think of this? And everybody was freaking out. And oh, here's one of the very first few mysteries that we had did. Both James and myself, finding out there was a supposedly glow-in-the-dark 85. Turns out it wasn't real. It was somebody's custom. But back then, before the internet, the thing is that a lot of people got really burned on fake trucks because they didn't know what was real and what not. Here's something, interestingly enough, way back when I called it a prototype and that it was fake and all that, and years later, like 10 years later, I've come to find out that that actually was a prototype. I can't go into details why, but so every once in a while I do correct things. This one I actually had to search back 10 years to find the picture because I was like, I knew I covered it somewhere. Anyway, so this is the original, the very first thing that started it all. As you can see, it uses a lot of the Hess pictures, which I'd never be able to get away with. Artwork, pictures, and all that kind of stuff. Some customs I did. So really a lot of good fun stuff of, that is just how it all started, There's me talking about Hess and how disappointed I was that they weren't ever coming out with another tanker. They kind of heard that. They kind of listened. And so that right there is the very first master list that came out. And we're talking early 2011. Okay? So this now is the first printed book that I made for people. And what happened was we got about 50 or 60 people to send me a check in the mail to cover the cost of printing this thing. This thing was ridiculously expensive. Anyway, the Hess Toy Truck Master List, again, a complete guide to Hess truck collecting. That was suggested by a gentleman named Dwayne, who was actually going to publish this and produce a few thousand copies, and then at the last minute basically said no. And I was scrounging, and so anyway, so this right here, it's very different. It's very, very hard print, very expensive. You're gonna see some notations on there. These books were like ridiculously expensive. It's all full color, glossy, almost cardstock paper. Okay, and anybody that has any physical hard copy, it would be basically this. This is the very first one, and this came out in 2013. Okay, so 10 years now, and as you can see, there's a lot of things covered, and there was about I think somewhere in the neighborhood of I don't know, there's only like 70, maybe, I don't know, maybe 60 copies. There's only 60 copies of this that exist. And most of the original ones were signed and numbered by me for those people that that supported me early on. Dear John Hess, of course I sent a copy to John Hess every year. Never heard anything, but what can you do, right? So anyway, so there's the very first master list. Now, so here is the very first Encyclopedia. This was went on Amazon, CreateSpace, totally self-published. Checklists, clones, historic values, prototypes, and more. And this right here, this is what started it all. Okay, this is the one that kind of blew up, and this came out, I believe. Again, excuse the notes. If you ever come across a book and it has a W in there somewhere, that means it's my working copy. And what happens is I'll take notes as I find new information. That either stuff that's new or things that have gotten fixed. A lot of people in the very early beginning, I'm going to take a moment, Matthew, James, Mark, Bill, Wayne, John, Joe, Bill, Ronald, Tom, Ray, Nate, Steve, Dwayne, Tom, Randy, Brad, Tim, RV, Rick, Frank. These were all people in the very beginning. They get big shout outs because they really helped put this together. Big introduction. Pages are completely full, edge to edge, as you can see. And whatchamacallit. And this is the first one. Also, too, I used 11-point font, which is later on I had to squeeze more into it. But as you can see, it's just all kind of interesting stuff. A lot of this, again, has been updated and modified throughout the years. But in these early editions, what I do have that I just don't anymore because I don't have space for it, and I don't have, people that are that much interested, is I have the clones. So you'll see a lot of stuff in here. Let's see. Oh, this I spent months on. A little visual history of the trucks companies. This was cool. All the BMAC clones. This right here I spent a lot of time on. All the BMAC, all the Mark's oil tankers, the visual differences, the ever so slight visual differences between the Servco and Wilco old trucks. I was actually talking about this just the other day with somebody. You just can't find information like this. There is absolutely no Servco, Wilco information out there covering a lot of the clones and a lot of the things that look identical. And then, of course, the dual racer transport, which is the Joe Gibbs truck. The Hovensa from Ray was the first one to get that out there. And then a lot of these sorter clones, all the battery cards. Again, a lot of this stuff you just don't see anymore because it just takes up too much space. So yeah, so that was the very, very first one, okay? Learned a lot. You saw my notes in there. So that obviously became now this version, which is... yeah, there we go, a little more clean. You can see everything. So this right here, 2014, okay? A lot of that first runner-up stuff has been corrected and fixed, and it's a little bit laid out better. Basically, it's much, much improved. It's also laid out differently. It's got the years, the decades, advertising, big full-color pictures, stuff you had never seen before, side-by-sides like this. Shows you every single, tanker, how it looks side-by-sides. You can compare. I'm a big fan of side-by-sides and before and after. This one has a lot of pictures showing just interesting things like the point-of-sale kit. And then this is right around 2014 when the station started closing. Some rare trucks, some mini trucks, blueprints, just lots of things that, were updated. Now, right here, I called it the 6th edition. I'm not sure why. Love this quote, an absolute essential for any Hess collector by D.P. Smith. And this right here, now, whereas this one finished, really fixed up that first book, this one really became onto its own, okay? As you can see, we've got the lineup. A special super thanks to Mark Gisty for doing that. It took him all day to do this for me. So this one right here, this book, as you can see right off the bat, it's really polished, okay? This is where it really started taking off. So this is 2016, and there is just stuff here that, full pages, double here's the 50s and the 60s, full gigantic pages. I mean, I really maxed out every possible option that I could for this. The Voyager stand, the mystery behind that. I mean, just, this is, look at these gigantic pictures, super high quality, very expensive book. And this is where it really started to take off. It kind of found its footing on, the format of how it was going to go. Special editions, that's always been a favorite of each book. Seeing all those trucks that you've, never seen before. Special variations and prototypes and all that stuff. So this right here, and also too, a lot of the pictures I started redoing myself, so there's uniformity. Obviously, there's always going to be pictures that somebody else took that I'm going to put in here. This right here, I don't have in the new books anymore because it just takes up too many pages. But the complete clone connection, where I've got Wayne Henderson, who authored his own books about gas company globes, wrote a great introduction for me. And again, covering all the Hess and Servco and Wilco and all those other versions that you're unaware of, the promotionals, the newspapers, the booklets, the pump toppers, battery cards, and also, of course, the Hess Mobile Museum. So this right here, and then, of course, the master checklist of every version, clones checklist, some pictures of my daughters. And then this was cool too because I had a lot of clients from the UK. So there's a couple of interesting stations here that I threw in there, cool little pics from across the pond. That has not gone in any other further issues. Didn't really get a lot of feedback on it. So so that's the 6th edition. Okay.